compressed poetically into a clear message of hope. As I write, democracy is once again coming under threat from populists, and rhetoric is, like nostalgia, one of those things that are always said not to be as good as they used to be. The threat to democracy is linked to the attack on rhetoric. If we want to attend to the good health of our democracy, and we really must, then we need to attend to the integrity of the way we speak about politics. The sophisticated speechwriter. For many years, it was my job to write the words that carried public arguments. As the chief speechwriter to Prime Minister Tony Blair, I tried to draft words that did justice to the hopes and passions of politics, while at the same time respecting the limitations involved. It was a fascinating and privileged vantage point on the politics of Britain and its chief allies. If Blair's speeches feature prominently in the chapters that follow, it is because of that personal insight, rather than necessarily a claim that the words bear comparison with the finest rhetoric in history. During my time as Blair's speechwriter, I regularly fielded the accusation that rhetoric had declined, and that the duplicity of crafted words was contributing to the low repute of politics. These are dangerous illusions that need to be countered. Rhetoric is not crafted deception, and it is not worse than it was. There is a serious prospect that in our time we are losing faith in politics. The words of politicians float by, practiced and polished, but profligate. The respect, veneration, and hope first expressed by Pericles has gone missing. It is the grand purpose of this book to help call it back. The accusation that rhetoric is simply duplicity has a long pedigree, and speechwriters have always come in for opprobrium as purveyors of fine falsehoods. In the 6th and 5th centuries BC, Greece was making the transition from aristocracy to democracy. Social class was no longer enough to support a political career, as every free male citizen enjoyed the right to speak in the assembly. This created a novel demand for tuition in the art of rhetoric. A band of itinerant writers and teachers of oratory met that demand for high fees. They were known as the sophists, and they came in straight away for vilification. Taking money for instruction was thought to be ignoble, and the sophists were immigrants who imported new and unwelcome ideas, such as the notion that truth was not transcendent but emerged from the clash of arguments. In 423 BC, in the Clouds, Aristophanes was the first to note that rhetorical genius can be turned to ill effect or can conceal dubious motives. It's just rhetoric, we say. Aristophanes satirizes Socrates' rhetorical fluency and his ability, in the boast of the sophist Protagoras, to make the weaker case appear the stronger. In the Clouds, Aristophanes has Socrates teach a boy how to argue that a son should beat his parents. They take revenge by burning down Socrates' thinking shop. Plato, who lived in Athens in the generation following the arrival of the sophists, shared Aristophanes' distrust and wrote the classic statement of suspicion about rhetoric. In his dialogue Gorgias, he condemned rhetoric as a knack of flattering with words, which led not to truth, but to mere persuasion. Plato regarded rhetoric as a low art form of no great import, like cookery, in particular pastry cookery. The writer might be an enchanter, thought Plato, but his work touched the surface alone and never penetrated to the deeper truths. Plato's villain, the superficial malignant, was the sophish speechwriter, rather than the speaker himself. Tacitus echoed the complaint at the beginning of the 2nd century AD. When the Emperor Nero gave a speech praising his predecessor Claudius, Tacitus criticized Nero for reading words written by his tutor Seneca. It is often said that political leaders will be more authentic if they wrote their own material. Many of them, in fact, have. Cicero was a student and a theorist of oratory as well as a practitioner. Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and Abraham Lincoln all composed their own words. Franklin D. Roosevelt wrote his famous inaugural address of March 1933. Winston Churchill never stopped reading and writing his